Live on the newsfeed late night, we continue now with your reporting. The Democratic Alliance wants government to act against tax dodgers in the taxi industry. The party has called on the South African Revenue Service to brief Parliament on how it intends to bring them to book and make sure they bring in their fair share. This after revelations that the taxi industry only contributes 5 million rands in overall tax collection. DA Finance spokesperson Jordine Hill-Lewis joins me now to expand on this. Jordine, good evening and thank you very much for your time tonight on the newsfeed late night. 250,000 minibus taxis on our roads, and we only collect 5 million rands. How is that possible?
Thank you. It's really nice to be with you this evening. Yeah, well, the truth is it's not possible unless the huge majority of the industry is evading tax, and that's clearly what's happening. We know that it's mostly a cash-based industry, but there is a lot more that SARS could be doing to make sure that the law is upheld and that everyone pays their fair share in South Africa. That's only fair.
It sounds almost like a scratched record. It's been a chorus that is being sung by transport minister to transport minister. We need to formalize and regulate the taxi industry. Is it ever going to happen? Are they lacking ideas on how to do it?
Yeah, I think that this has been a very long-standing problem. There is some formalization with licenses and route operating licenses and so on. The key is to link that now into the SARS system and to make sure that all of the owners and operators are tax compliant. Of course, there are many taxi owners who would not pay tax anyway, even if they were properly registered for tax, because they may only own 1 or 2 taxis. But there are also many who actually run massive businesses, transport businesses, with dozens and some even hundreds of taxis. And those are very significant businesses, very profitable, and they do need to be paying their fair share. And I think SARS needs to do more beyond just education and voluntary compliance, but actually enforcing the law.
So how do you suggest then the taxi operating license can be used to encourage compliance?
Well, in the same way that if you and I apply for a liquor license in South Africa to open a restaurant, you cannot get a liquor license unless you prove that your business is tax compliant. The same goes for many other kinds of trading licenses and business licenses required in South Africa. There's no reason why these shouldn't be the same. It's very easy to find out who has got lots and lots of taxis and who are the really big operators are, because they're the ones with all of the licenses. And so you can go and easily trace those companies and check whether they are tax compliant, how many employees do they have, are they paying unemployment insurance for those employees, and so on. And that's how you can start to formalize the industry. But the point is, really a simple point that I'm making is that it is not fair on the rest of South Africa. Everyone's going through hard times. Everyone is struggling, but for everyone else to have to pay their fair share and to obey the law, and for an entire industry, a very profitable, very big industry, to simply get away with not paying anything is not fair, and it is illegal.
Now, taxi operators have been saying they ferry close to 62% of the population in South Africa, quite critical and quite crucial in taking South Africans to and from work, yet they've not been getting any subsidies from government. Should government be considering giving them those subsidies, considering the amount of money that they're actually paying as taxes?
Yes, well, that's actually what gave me this idea to start looking into this issue. That's exactly what prompted me, is that during the lockdown last year, the taxi operators were pushing for big subsidies and effectively bailouts from the government. And at first I thought, well, that's actually there might be a good argument for that, in the same way that trains are paid for by the state, in the same way that some bus companies get subsidies from the state to deliver an important public service, like, as you say, ferrying and transporting the public. Maybe these operators are also entitled to the same support. But then I thought, well, let me just check that they are paying their fair share. And of course, this is the truth now has come out. The answer has come out. They are not doing that. So I think for as long as they are not contributing, they really cannot call on the state to bail them out or subsidize them in any way. If they were fairly contributing their fair share, then I think we could have a rational discussion about whether this is something that the government should be contributing to.
How long do you think the process of formalizing the taxi industry is going to take, considering the number of taxis that we have out there, but also some of the limitations in terms of identifying taxi operators from taxi owners and taxi drivers? Sometimes it becomes a little bit of a blurred line.
Look, I'm coming at this mainly from a tax perspective, and I think that from what I can see, it is not that difficult to ensure that taxi operators are actually tax compliant. It's not something that is outside of the ability of SARS to handle. But what I have done is got in touch with the SARS commissioner, and he said that we're going to have a conversation about it. And as you said in your introduction, I'd also like them to come and brief Parliament about this problem and see what can be done in the relatively near future to try and get more compliance in the taxi industry. As for the other formalization in the industry, registration of businesses and so on, payments of UIF, I hear that is also a very big problem, that taxi drivers don't often, they are not recognized as formal employees. They don't receive pay slips, and no one pays UIF for them. That needs to be dealt with by the Department of Labor. But from a tax perspective, I think that a lot more can be done in the relatively near future.
Jodine, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. DA Shadow Minister of Finance there, Jodine Hill-Lewis, saying more can be done in the future to ensure compliance with the country's tax regulation.